All right, so we've got our game, and our game, the score will increase, the lives will go down, and when I get to the end, I get a game over, the game stops, and it says click to restart, and I click anywhere on the screen and it restarts, and everything's beautiful. But if I'm clicking too rapidly, I might restart the game without even meaning to restart the game, and that's not what I want. So I want a restart button. That was what I asked for. Now, I want to draw that button as a rectangle, and that rectangle should not appear until the game is over. It should appear with that click text, right? So I'm going to create a button by creating a rect. I'm going to create my rect at 200, which will put the button right in the center. I know the center's 300, but I got to make it width, and we use the top left corner. All right, so then I'm going to say that we're going to say 300, comma 100, comma 50. Don't know. We'll see what that looks like, and then we'll go from there. Oh, 50. Oh, I wanted it 200 wide, not 100 wide. Anyway, all right. And then 50 might be too... It's not centered on the text right now. That's okay. We can fix that in a second. I just wanted to... There we go. So... All right. Now, the button is centered on the screen. So now my click to restart text, I want to center on my button. So I'm going to need to move my text down. So this is going to be not 300. Or let's move the button. Yeah, text down. That's fine. Let's move this down to, let's see, the bottom of the box would be 350. So I need to be up from the bottom. We'll call it 2, yeah. The bottom of the box would be 350. So we'll call it 320. Let's see if that put it where we need to be. Oh, too high. So 330. Pretty good. Now we got to move it to the right. So we're going to move it to the right. Let's try 40. Good enough. All right. But I'm not sure I like the color of the box. So I'm going to change the box by changing the fill. Make it something like 100, 100, comma 255. That might be a nice color. It's going to be bluish. All right, so let's, where'd my text go? Oh, the fill is the same color as my text. So I better change my fill back to 0 before I print my text. Otherwise, the text is going to be the same color as my box, and I lose the effect of, there we go. All right, so you know, let's make the box a little brighter because that's hard to read. I could always make the text a different color. There we go. I like that. All right, so now I click to restart. Why is my ball black now? So that's weird. So that's because now the fill is set to black after I restart. So that probably means we need to set the fill back to white when we restart the game. So I'm going to come back down to where we restart the game and set the fill back to white to make sure we're good. Click to restart. Now my text fill on my... So this is something I discovered, is that the text fill by default is black until you set fill, and then it matches whatever fill is, which is weird because the fill in general is white. But apparently the text fill by default is black, and I discovered that while making these videos. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that before we do text, we set fill to be black, and before we draw our ball, we set our fill to be white. And again, I've got text down here too, don't I? So I better set this fill to be black, and that should fix that problem. Okay, so if we're going to be using text, do your text fill before your text, and then do your object fill again after you do your text. And then you'll always have exactly what you want. Right, so now when I start over, everything is good. All right, so now, but I want to make it so that I have to click this box. So how do I do that? Well, how did I determine whether I clicked the ball? I set kind of this imaginary, if the cursor was to the right of this edge and to the left of this edge, that's what this mouse X, mouse Y bit, or mouse X bit was. And then if it's also above and below. So I can do the same thing for our box, because we know that our box has very set boundaries. And those boundaries are set by this function. So we know the left edge of our box has an X value of 200. So this is the left edge. And because our box starts at 200 and is 200 wide, the right edge is 400, right? And so if we look at the top edge of our box, our Y value of 300, bottom, let's see if I can spell bottom right, bottom is 300 plus 50, so 350. So we've got those four values. So then when we come down here, we still have this whole thing. So we can add that to this if we want, or we can add it to another one. I'm going to add it to this if. So I'm going to do the and, right? And then I'm going to say mouse X needs to be greater than the left edge. And the left edge we established was 200. And X, mouse X needs to be less than 400. That would mean that my mouse is in a quadrant that runs like a line here and a line here. So if I click anywhere in the middle of the screen, it would go. So we want to make sure that we have to get the Y also. So I'm going to hit my and my line's getting kind of long, so I'm going to go ahead and move to the next line because I can do that without breaking the code. Now I need to ask about mouse Y. Mouse Y needs to be greater than the, oh, too many greater than signs. Mouse Y needs to be greater than the top edge, which we said had a value of 300. And mouse Y needs to be less than the bottom edge, which we said is 350. So now we asked, is the game over? But then we also asked, and did I hit the button? Now that's what this big question asks. It asks, is the game over with this question? And did I hit the button with this question? So now I can click and I can increase my score, and I can click and I can miss. And if I click anywhere else on the screen, I'm clicking, clicking, clicking. Nothing goes. I'm going to click on the button, and then we go. Okay? So you can add a button the same way as we added the ball that we tapped on. We just have to use the same idea that we already built. Okay? So I need you to get your code to where we are right now so that we can add the next piece. All right? So get your code to where we are right now, and we will add the next piece.